Hello and welcome to Yoga with Jackie. Hopefully you've had time to discover the library of sort of videos, classes that I've got on my Facebook page, Jackie's Yoga Barn. If not, and this is your first time with me, welcome and thank you for sharing your time with me. So today we're going to focus a little bit on backbending. It can be quite a challenging movement for many people. And not just physically but emotionally, as it has the aspect of opening through the heart. So remember, your heart is a muscle, and like any other muscle of the body, it can become tense and tight and hold on to stuff. So you may find that past events that you've completely forgotten about bubble up to the surface. If that's you, then just acknowledge whatever comes up and then just let it go. Try not to push it back or fight against it, just be aware and then move on with your practice. Most people find that backbending sessions are quite liberating and joyous, so hopefully you will get that aspect as well from your practice with me today. Good, so we start by lying down on our mats. Usual kind of guidance is you do whatever feels right for you, so if anything feels uncomfortable or you're not sure about, just back away from it. Maybe take a breath or a breather in child's pose and then join in when you're ready. Good, so we come to the floor, legs bent, feet flat on the mat. We just let the knees come together, sometimes referred to as tent pose, when you make this triangle shape with between your feet and your knees. Let's have the palms facing up. Just for a second, we'll have that arm position to allow the shoulders to relax and release down into the mat. Then we'll bring one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart centre. Close our eyes and then just for a moment allow the breath to travel between your hands. So perhaps breathe in and up from one hand to the other, and then breathe out and down from that top hand to the bottom hand, or whatever breath feels the most comfortable for you. So sometimes I'll ask the question, or ask you to ask yourself the question, and the question is, how do I feel? So you can do that right now if it feels appropriate. There's no kind of in-depth sort of counselling going on here. It's just a fairly simple question, how do I feel? And the answer could be, actually, I feel great. I don't feel so great. I'm really tired. I'm really energized. Something in between. Even I don't know is a perfectly good answer to that question. Good. So from the floor, release your hands and arms by your side and separate the knees, walk the feet in a little bit. We're just going to start to bring a kind of passive back bend. In other words, just the way the body responds. We're not actively doing anything to make it do anything different. So we'll breathe in, take the arms up. Notice how the lower back especially starts to arch gently from the floor. And breathe out, arms down by your side. Keep that going, breathing in, lift the arms. And breathing out, lower the arms. So do that 3 more times. Lifting on the in-breath, lowering on the out-breath. Just checking out the lower back, see how it feels. And for back bending to happen, we have to allow the front of the body to be more open, to be longer. So we'll be focusing on that today. Last one, breathe in. This time as you breathe out, bring both knees onto your chest and curl up into a tight ball. Release the feet, arms up, breathe in. Exhale, curl up into a tight ball. One more. And then just come back down to your original start position. Knees together, feet a little wider. Arms away from the body this time, palms facing up. Noticing that natural lumbar curve, so you've got that little gap between your lower back and your mat, that natural gap. Well done. So from here, gently roll over to one side to come up to all fours. We'll start to add more of a back bend by doing cat-cow. So knees under hips, wrists more or less on the shoulders. If you can, I'll turn this way to face you. Try and get the inner elbows facing each other rather than locking the elbows out so that the inner elbows face forwards. Okay, good. Here we go. Breathe in, tailbone lifts, chest comes forward, chin lifts. Breathe out, start to arch your spine up to the sky, using that squeeze through the navel to gently press and lengthen the spine and allow it to arch a little bit more. Good, breathe in and breathe out. So soften your elbows as you breathe in and then push the floor away with your hands as you breathe out. Breathing in and breathing out. And again. Good. Breathe in this time, and as you breathe out, curl your spine up, but finish the movement sitting back to your heels with your hips, but use your tummy strength to pull your hips back rather than just the weight of your hips. Okay, so breathe in again up to all fours, and breathe out. Navel strongly to spine. Keep that squeeze on the navel as you sit your hips back, and really control that downward movement. Good. Breathe in, and breathe out. Two more. Last one. This time as you breathe out, tuck your toes and make your way to downward dog. So feel your way into downward dog, particularly if it's the first downward dog you've ever done, or it's the first downward dog of your day. Maybe bend the legs one at a time, sometimes called walking the dog or walking in place. And just feel your way again along the backs of the legs. Notice any resistance. So not pushing against that resistance, we're just aware of it. And we're just going to allow that resistance to soften and ease as the backs of the legs get a little bit longer and warmer. Well done. Now from here, your legs are equally bent or equally straight. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, draw the rib cage into the spine. Feel that kind of neutralize that sort of concave feeling in the lower back. Then look forwards, take your time and make little steps to walk to the space between your hands. We're just going to hang out here for a breath or two. So soften the knees, opposite hand to opposite elbow. Crown of the head melts towards the floor, so you're not looking down at your feet, you're looking back. And then we're just going to sway from side to side. Good, then we'll come to the center, release your hands to the floor. Good. So if you find as you lift halfway up, this is halfway up, you find it too much, keeping your hands on the floor, start with your hands on your legs. Okay. So breathe in halfway up, look forwards, let's tilt the tailbone up, a little bit of a back bend, chest extending forwards, gazing forwards, exhale, fold in, squeeze the navel to the spine, see if you can go a little further in towards your legs. Good. Breathe in. Halfway up, exhale, fold. One more. Now we're going to come all the way up with real strength and determination. So feel your way into your mat with your feet. Good. Breathe in, arms out to the side and up. Breathe in all the way up. Exhale, back down. And again, breathing up. Use the strength of your back to bring you up. Exhale, down. And again, up. Exhale, down. Two more. Up. And down. Good. One more. Up. Stay down this time. Halfway up. Inhale. Exhale. Step back to downward dog. So again, maybe finding a more of a static downward dog this time. So pressing the floor away with your hands. Just let your head be really heavy here, so relax your neck. Sometimes we line the ears up with the inner upper arms, so we're just allowing the neck a little bit of respite from holding the head up here. So let your head hang loosely from your neck. If you're not sure if it's loose, then just kind of
Waggle it front to back, side to side a little bit. A couple of yeses, a couple of nos. If that's a real effort, then you just need to think of a sigh through your neck. Well done. Now when you're ready, look forwards again, and this time just step your right foot forwards and bring your left knee down onto the mat. And coming up with your hands on your right thigh. Well done. So we're going to stack the hands, one on top of the other, it doesn't matter which one is underneath. Take a breath in here, keeping your back toes tucked. To exhale and sigh your hips forwards and down. From here, breathe in. As you breathe out, keeping in this same low lunge position, you can always pad your back knee, remember. Start to push against your leg, keeping the chest lifted and broad, shoulder blades relax down your back, collarbones relax. Making your way into a nice back bend. So be careful you haven't started to bring your hips with you. Good. Should feel a nice little sensation on the front of that left thigh, left hip, as we begin to lengthen and elongate those muscles. Remember how we need that length to facilitate this back bending movement. Well then, release your hands to the floor, tuck your back toes if you untuck them, and step back to downward dog. Good, we'll go straight to the other side, so look forward, step your left foot, right knee down. Remember you can flip your mat over and pad your knee if you wish to. Coming up, so as you come up initially, your hips come with you. Alright, so we just want to give ourselves just a journey into that lower lunge position. Always supporting the lower back with the belly muscle, so just navel to spine, particularly as you bring your hips forward, stacking your hands again, shoulders back and down, release the hips forwards and down. Good. So you'll perhaps be aware that if you just let everything go here, you get like a crunchy feeling here. So navel to spine, and you'll feel what that does, it decompresses the lower back, so it kind of lengthens it. So you lose that sensation of everything being pressed together. Good, so start to press against your hands, keep the navel engaged. Try and keep your hips low rather than letting them travel back with you. Now you've moved the sensation and awareness to the front of that longer leg, the right side. I'm not sure if I've quite mirrored you here. So I may have my right leg forward and left leg back. Well done. And then hands to the floor. Step back to downward dog. And we do a little vinyasa. So that's a vinyasa is when we combine postures together into a flowing sequence. I call it yoga choreography. Good. So we'll come forwards into plank pose. And then we'll bring the knees down. The knees are well back from under the hips, untuck the toes. Then we'll continue with that back bend theme by bringing the thighs to the floor first, then the pubic bone and hips. Good, belly, rib cage, chest and forehead. We'll slide the hands forward so they're well forwards of the shoulders. We'll come up to a really low cobra, breathe in. Keep the navel engaged here, so draw the navel to the spine, almost like you're trying to tuck your tailbone a little bit. Then exhale, come back down. Readjust your hands, all fours as you breathe in. Exhale, downward dog. We're going to go back to that same lunge position. So bringing your right foot forwards, left knee down. Good. Again, this might look like my left leg forwards, right knee down. Good. Keeping those back toes tucked as we walk the hands up that front thigh again. Shoulders back and down. Find that nice low hip position. When we try and come low, just to remind you, there's still support. So it isn't like we've just gone ha and everything's kind of gone to pot. We've still got support from the pelvic floor and the navel centre. Good. We're going to press away again with the hands, and this time we're going to have a go releasing that back knee and then the arms out and up and slightly broad, looking up. Imagine you're trying to face your heart up to the sky. Release the knee if it's up, hands to the floor. We'll do a little rock forwards and backwards, so you straighten the front leg and then bend the front leg. And then once you plant your foot, step back to downward dog. Let's go to that little vinyasa before we do the other side. So plank, knees down and tuck your toes. Wave your body down to the floor. So aim your thighs to the floor first. Good. Hips, pubic bone, belly, ribcage, chest, forehead. Slide your hands forward slightly wider. For a nice supported cobra, breathe in. Tailbone tucked ever so slightly. Exhale your way down. All fours, hands and knees. Tuck your toes, downward dog. Good. Preparing for the other side as you step your left foot forwards. Right knee down. Good. I'll get my rights and lefts sorted out in a minute. Good. And coming up to your lunge, tucking your back toes. So same start position, your hands are on your thigh. You're engaging your navel support, your pelvic floor is drawing in and up before you allow your hips to drop forwards and down. Start to press against that front thigh. Maybe press away through the back heel so the knee releases from the mat. You can keep it down the whole time. And possibly take the arms out and up. Releasing the knee, if it's up. Hands to the floor. Backwards till the legs straight, coming up onto the heel. And forwards again, so you're replanting your foot. Good. Well done. This time, step your back foot to the front foot, to the back of the mat. And take the knees a little wider, big toes together. And start to kind of tilt the tailbone up, breathe in, exhale, round, and sit back in that rounded position, using your tummy strength to bring your hips to your heels again. And support your head as you'd like to in this variation of child's pose. I'll sit up and chat to you while you rest. Notice where you can feel your breath moving. Perhaps where your breath is reluctant to go, your body's reluctant to accept your breath. And take a moment to encourage it to go to that place. If it's a hard spot, it's tension or tight, then focus on the edges of that space getting soft and easy rather than trying to make the tightness go away completely. Well done. So we're going to come to all fours. Actually, no, we'll come onto our tummies again first. So make your way onto your tummy and support your head on your hands. So one hand stacked on the other, forehead on top. I'll keep my head lifted so I'm not talking into the floor. All we're going to do is basically kick our bum with our heels, alternating sides. So left heel to left cheek, bum cheek, and right heel to right bum cheek. So kick and kick. So your head will be resting on your hands, keeping your hips and your pubic bone pressing into the floor. Begin to kick one side, then the other. Again, quite a nice dynamic way to get the thigh muscles warm and beginning to lengthen them a little bit more. Good. If it's doable, release your forehead onto the floor. Bring your right heel into your right bum cheek and grab your right foot with both hands and make sure you haven't started to lift your bum up to your heel. Okay, so keep your hips pressing and do your best to squeeze the heel into the bum. Maybe you might even be able to connect your heel to your buttock. Okay, relax your shoulders. Keep pressing your hips actively into the floor. You'll feel that sensation on that right thigh increase as you do that. And then release, and other side if it's doable. If not, you're just going to sort of keep kicking, alternating sides. Press, press, press with the hips. Relax. Breathe into all fours. And once again, come back to your child's pose as you exhale. Maybe just a little moment to contemplate here. And now we'll come back to all fours. Good. Well done. I'll turn around the other way. Good. So we're going to do a little sort of stretch. Alternate hand to alternate foot. So we're going to raise the right leg up. Point the toes to the ceiling. Support yourself on your right hand and sweep the left hand around and grab the right foot if it's doable. If it's not, just flex your right foot and spread your left fingers and turn your attention, your gaze towards that left hand while you're pressing the sole of the right foot up. Otherwise, you've got hold of the foot. This time, rather than pulling the heel in, you're pressing the foot actively into the hand. It's going to draw the left shoulder back, and you're going to turn your gaze, the right side of your chest to the left side of the room. Navel to spine here. A few breaths. Then we release. Take a cat-cow, breathe in, breathe out. Come back to all fours. Nice neutral spine, and then navel to spine to support the lower back before we go to the other side. So left leg comes up. Remember, if you're unable to grab, you can use a strap, or you can simply flex the foot and reach back with the right arm. Maybe grabbing the foot with the opposite hand. So the shoulder of the supporting arm, be careful you haven't just slunk down into it, if that's a word. Press the floor away. Whoops. Good. And then start to actively push the foot back into the hand. Maybe your thighs parallel with the floor. You're turning your body to the right side of the room, particularly the left side of your chest and belly. Well done. Then we'll release, tuck our toes and step back, or make your way to downward dog. Breathe in, breathe out. Good. Now come into your plank pose. Knees down again, and wave your way to the floor. Coming onto our forearms for Sphinx pose. Elbows under shoulders, really important. It's quite common actually in the yoga practice for people to have their elbows too far back. So you're kind of in this kind of stuck position. So you want to be raised, elbows under shoulders, slightly forwards is okay, not too far forwards. And we're going to take the legs a little bit wider and bring the big toes together. So you're making a triangle shape between your toes and your knees. And just inch your hands a tiny bit further away. Turn your hands out and just press up, keeping that tailbone long. You'll notice that if you don't draw your attention to your belly or your tailbone, that perhaps the belly just melts down and the lower back feels in that crunchy place again. So lengthen your tailbone, square up your hands, good. If this is uncomfortable for you, then just release your feet into a wide V shape, all right? Breathe in, lift the left arm in line with the left shoulder, exhale down. We're going to do this without collapsing down. Good, changing sides as you inhale and exhale. Changing sides again as you inhale and exhale, good. Inhale. Exhale, inhale, exhale. One more on the left, breathe in, breathe out, one more on the right. Good, release your legs, release your forearms, walk them back towards you. Just heel toe your feet in a little bit. Focus on that tailbone lengthening. You're probably aware of your back, but I'd like you just to notice how it's feeling now. Quite a strong movement for your back. So a reaction is to be expected, even if it's just a little bit of a chat. Good. Then we're going to make our way to downward dog. So slowly lower to the floor, hands under the shoulders or a little bit further back by the ribs, tuck your toes, press up to your hands and knees, take your time, and downward dog, which should feel really good. It's a counter pose. We're taking the body in the opposite direction it's just been. So that always feels good. Take a few breaths here. Well done. And then release your knees to the floor as you exhale and come to sitting on your heels for a moment. Good. We're going to bring the hands behind us, maybe on the fingertips, it's fine, or maybe on the palms. We're just going to press the floor away, lift the chest, spread the chest, gaze to the ceiling, or if your neck's okay, you can take your head back a little bit. And perhaps press those hips up, still releasing your hips from your heels. Breathe into whatever area of the body is chatting to you. And then exhale back down, come upright, and child's pose. So just going to add on to that. So coming back up to our heels, our knees, We're going to do a variation of Ustrasana Camel Pose. So coming up actually on the knees this time. So you may find you would like to pad your knee, and also, I'll just grab one, you can use a yoga brick or similar if you find it a challenge to reach your heel. So if you're using your brick, you'll have your brick halfway between the knee of the heel you're reaching for and the heel itself, so you can just rest your hand here. Good. So if you find again that's not doable for you, you can just bring your hands to the lower back, fingers up if possible, if not, as if they're in pockets of jeans or trousers, whatever you wear. Good. So we're going to step the left foot forwards. So this is the variation of camel, and the back toes stay tucked. And we'll start actually with that hand position that I've just mentioned. So bringing your hands to the lower back. Now wherever they are, you imagine you're trying to smooth the flesh down from the buttocks. So rather than just let it crumple up, really press it down so it keeps length in the back. Lifting the chest. Remember what we did in our lunge, we came forwards. This time we're just staying upright. So broadening across the chest, lifting the chin, breathing. Take your time to come away. Good, hands to the floor, step back. And rather than just countering that pose, let's just sit on the heels for a moment and let the echo of the posture stay with us. Good. Same thing on the other side. So coming up, pad your knees if you'd like to. Good. Step your foot forwards, back toes tucked. Same hand position. Good. So keeping length in that lower back. Tailbone long or slightly tucked is fine. As you tuck your tail, you'll feel the reaction to the front of your left thigh here as it kind of gets lengthened slightly with that little back bending action. So your shoulders are relaxed and down, your chest is broad. You're lifting your gaze slightly rather than letting the head hang back here. You're breathing, you're smiling, and you're slowly releasing. And once again, we're just going to sit back on the heels. Close your eyes for a moment. And rather than just thinking of the breath being in the front, feel the breath in the belly, the rib cage, and the lower back as you inhale. And all those spaces relaxing as you let the breath go, particularly the lower back. Okay, so let's just take it up to the next level. Same start position. Good. So we step the left foot forwards, right toes are tucked. This is where you might need your brick. So you're either going to have your right hand on your right heel, left arm will be raised or back, or you'll have your right hand on your brick. Okay, if that doesn't work, you can bring the right hand to the lower back again, just as we did, but more in the central position, spreading your fingers nice and wide. Okay, so whatever you're working with, you'll make a grab for it. Now, if you're going for the heel, you've probably twisted round and maybe dropped your bum down. So let's just start to square everything up. Let's just turn the body forward facing and shoulders in line with each other as we raise that left arm, maybe taking it back behind us, maybe looking at that raised hand. Good. Slowly lower the arm and do a slight little turn to the right. Drop the hips so you can release and come back to sitting on your heels. Nice steady breath. Remember the focus of the breath, belly, side, rib cage and back as you inhale. Exhale, let everything go. Good, let's do the other side. So same deal again, step your right foot forwards, left toes are tucked. Maybe your brick is midway between the left knee and the left foot. Maybe you don't need your brick, or maybe you've got your left hand on the lower back, but more centrally rather than just on the left side. So grab, make your journey to where your hand needs to be, then square everything forwards. Good. Raising that right arm without the shoulder climbing up. And perhaps taking the arm back behind you and looking at your hand. Well done. Take your time to come out, please. And this time, we'll make our way to child's pose. And if you've got your brick handy, you can support your head on your brick. And notice if that feels more relaxing than perhaps if your head is reluctant to touch the floor. Wherever your head is, notice how heavy it is. I always like to encourage people to notice that because it allows you a moment to go, ooh, my head's really heavy, which means you've relaxed it into whatever it's leaning on. And so your neck gets a bit of a breather. Well done. Good. Slowly coming up. Take a moment, just breathing quietly. We're just going to go one more step into this variation of camel pose. So this will be our peak posture, the main posture we've been working towards. So again, you can continue to use your brick and do what we've just done. So you'll have one hand supporting you, the other arm potentially raised. To go into the next phase, you'll have both hands on the heel. So if you're using your brick, then please continue to just do single sides only. It's a bit too precarious to come onto a brick with both hands. Good, so coming up, good. We'll step the left foot forwards, tuck the right toes. You're making a journey to your right foot with your right hand and potentially sweeping the left hand behind you, also coming to the right heel with the left hand and pressing, broadening across the chest. In this instance, if your neck's okay, you can allow your head to come back. We won't be here too long. Nice, deep, steady breathing. Good. Control the lift of the head. If you dropped it back, a little turn to the right. And then take your time, please, to just come back to sitting on your heels. And you have to kind of feel your way out of deep back bends. So it's best to just move in a way that feels right, rather than just a sequenced way that you think it should be done. So feel your way out. Okay. Good, other side. On your knees, sorry, not all fours. Right foot forwards, left toes tucked. Continue to do that single side, so you're doing the opposite side again if you're using your brick or one hand on your back. Good, in this instance we're reaching for the left heel with the left hand, and maybe with the right hand, as you push against that heel to allow the chest to broaden, relax your collarbones, maybe keeping your gaze up or possibly the head back. There's still a semblance of control here. And it's quite tricky to chat with your head hanging back. Well done. Remember to control, feel your way out. And make your way to child's pose. Now in child's pose again, I just lift it up so I can chat to you. In child's pose, you'll be really aware of the back of the body, and particularly the lower back. Really feel that area of the body expand with the in-breath. So it's creating space in case there's been any sort of squeeze or contraction there. And as you breathe out, the space remains, but everything can soften into that space. So your back feels really open and easy. Well done. And then make your way up to a comfortable cross-leg position. We'll have a nice little twist from here. So have your right leg in front of your left, shoulders up, back and down. An easy twist. Right hand across to left knee, left hand to the floor behind you. Move your brick away if it's in the way. Breathe in, press up. And as you breathe out, turn your shoulders to the left, but your head to the right. Then breathe in, relax the turn of the shoulders, turn your head in the opposite direction, and exhale, shoulders to the left, head to the right. One more. Then breathe into the center, and as you exhale, just make your way into a soft forward fold, maybe coming onto the forearms or maybe staying high on the hands. I'm not asking you to come all the way down. And a slight little slump in the back. So if you've got lower back issues, take care if you're slumping down. Just again, feel your way into it. And breathe into that little kind of curved slumpiness. Well done. Coming back up, change the cross of your legs. So this time left hand to right knee, right hand to the floor behind you. As you breathe in, lengthen the crown and head up. As you breathe out, shoulders to the right, head to the left. And as you breathe in, you're kind of reversing that. Keeping your hands as they are, relax the turn of the shoulders, turn your head around to the right. And then exhale, twist. Shoulders one way, head the other. And again. Good, come back to the centre. Breathing in. And exhale, come forwards. And once you've come forwards, then just find that controlled kind of slumpiness. Rather than the spine kind of doing this, crunch, it's just opening out at the back as you create that extended arch or curve in the lower back. Well done. Coming to your upright position, take a moment to just bend the legs, feet flat on the floor. Let's extend the arms forwards, roll the shoulders back and down. We're going to focus on the spine connecting with the mat. So let's just start to hollow out the navel, so navel to spine. And start to feel your way down to your mat, but working your way up and along your spine. So feel the tailbones tucking under and the back of your pelvis starting to flatten into the floor. Then feel the lower part of your spine. If you need to support this with your forearms, like walk your forearms down, it's absolutely okay. Then work your way up to the middle of the back. Take your time to find it because it is there. And then roll down through the shoulder blades, the space between the shoulder blades. And then the shoulders will touch down. And once again, your head comes down. Notice how heavy your head is. Relax the weight into the floor. Bring the feet a little closer, as wide as the mat. And we're just going to windshield wiper the knees from side to side. So knees go to the right, head to the left, etc. So opposite direction, again just creating that lovely spiraling effect through the spine, countering the back bending action, although not the energy of that practice, that will still be with us. Then I come back to that central position, heel toe your feet and knees together, good. Arms up, breathe in. Exhale, curl up into a tight ball. And again, feet down, arms up, breathe in. Exhale, curling up. One more. Curling up. This time, stay up and see if you can curl tightly up and tighter with each out breath. Excuse me. And then when you're ready, release yourself all the way back down onto your mat. Good. Take a moment to find every bit of contact you can between your back and your mat. So it's okay to fidget for a second. I don't usually encourage fidgeting, but in this instance, we want to find as much contact, so spread the shoulder blades wide. Maybe even do a little bit of a pelvic rock, so hip bones away, then hip bones towards you, like you're curling your pubic bone towards you. And then particularly if you're doing that pelvic rock, just let that movement slow right down. So you're back into that neutral spinal position that we had, right, I mentioned right at the beginning, where you can slide your hand under your back. Good. We're just going to bring the knees together, hold the feet nice and wide again, one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart.
back to the breath, moving between your hands again. Breathing in, breathing out. You may find you breathe down on the inhalation and up on the exhalation, or you breathe up on the inhalation and down on the exhalation. It's your breath, remember. And if it feels okay for you, you can hang out here for a breath or two more and then take your time getting up and move on with your day, or you can be here a little longer in Shavasana. If you're moving to Shavasana and it's comfy for your back, begin to extend the legs out along the length of your mat into a nice wide V shape. And the hands can remain on the body if you like the connection of hand on heart and hand on belly, or you can release your arms away from you, palms facing up. And maybe if you have the time, perhaps taking at least 5 minutes here. Exhaling further into relaxation and letting go into a deeper stillness. Namaste.